Parshas Ki Seitzei Toshnai Tes. We bring you the shir from Bikur Cholim headquarters in Lakewood, New Jersey. Tonight's shir, of course, it's hard to even say it and amazing to even think of it this way. But Leila Nishmas, Rav Gissinger, who was nifter just a few hours ago, somebody who was, I remember we said the same thing about Rabbi Trains not so long ago. Someone that's just totally irreplaceable. Somebody that totally will never ever be duplicated. Someone that carried so much and such a big load. Things that go on in this town. Chesed and Rabbanus and Psak and Torah and Tzibur and everything that Rabbi Gissinger represented it. And now, unfortunately, Rabbi Gissinger is gone. And what better way is there to remember Rabbi Gissinger and to give him something of Torah in his name? And really, at the outset of this week's Parsha, and in last week's Parsha too, the Torah speaks about going out to war. And we're going to speak a little bit, we're going to speak about Parshas Ki Seitzei at the beginning, but I want to go off a little bit too into some talk and some ideas for Rosh Hashanah, and something which I feel actually very strongly is an unbelievable point that the Nesivos Shalom brings out, and something that every single one of us should remember going into the season of Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the weeks that are coming up upon us. And the Pasuk tells us, Ki Seitzei Elul and Chazal really speak so much about these wars, about these battles, and we've discussed over the past 9-10 years now, we've discussed how this battle that we're referring to in the Parsha, this battle could really be referring to the individual battles and the individual wars that every single person has, whether it's with the Yetzer Hara, whether it's with the other things that go on in their life, the struggles that people have. Ki Seitzei Elul when we go out and we push and we fight and we press on, that is the type of battle that we're speaking about, the day-to-day struggles that each person faces. And in last week's parsha, there's also parsha of Ki Seitzei that talks about going out to war, and the different people that do not have to and should not go out to fight these battles. And the Torah tells us, one of the things in the parsha last week tells us that if someone is afraid about the averos that they may have done, that person should not go out to war. The Torah tells us that person, if he's afraid of averos that he has, that person should not go out to war, go back home. Don't go fight. So the Nesivos Shalom asks a question, and he asks, who exactly do you want to go out to war? Imagine, here's a person, maybe he did some averos, maybe he struggled with something, and he's afraid of it. And he's actually thinking about the things that he's done. Wouldn't that be the type of person that you want to go out to war? A person that's afraid of the averos that he may have done. That's the kind of person we like. That's the kind of person that we want to go out. You want someone to go out to war who maybe did averos and says, I don't care. He's not afraid. So that person you say go to war. But the person who's a thinking person, he's actually a little bit afraid. That person we say, go back home. How exactly do we explain that? So Nesivos Shalom teaches us really a monumental lesson, and it's something that is so apropos and so exactly the way we are today in the 21st century, and the type of lesson, the type of life's lesson that every single one of us needs to hear. And Nesivos Shalom tells us, he wants to teach us, what is yira? What does it mean that someone is afraid? We speak about yira shamayim, we speak about yira sachet, we speak about different types of yira. So Nesivos Shalom tells us that there is a yira that we know that is from the olam habinyan. You have yira, someone that's afraid, and it could be from the world where you build. You could build worlds from yira. But you need to know also that there is a yira, when a person is afraid and a person has a fear, there is a yira that is actually also from the olam hachorba. A yira of being afraid that's not good at all. The Torah always tells us, and I'm going to explain this to you now, right? The Torah always tells us in Parshas Tetzaveh. Parshas Tetzaveh, we have a commandment at the beginning. The Torah talks about the oil, how we make the oil that burns in the menorah, in the Mishkan, how they did it. And the Pasuk tells us that you know what type of oil that had to be? Shemen Zayis Zoch. It had to be exceptionally clear and pure oil. Kosis means that they smashed those olives. They crushed those olives, lama or. It had to be crushed enough that you have clear oil, and that oil was lit. They light that oil for the menorah. And Chazal tell us that when the Pasuk tells us kosis lama or, that it has to be crushed with a crushed olive that is fit for burning the oil of the menorah, we darshan v'loi lamanachos. The type of oil has to be exceptionally and exceedingly pure, but not the type of oil that you would use for the menachos. This has to be a special oil that was ultra clear, that was meant lama or, for lighting. And Nesivos Shalom says a beautiful thought from the Torah Sa'avos on this. And he says, you know what? Every person has to know that it's okay for a person to be hard on themselves sometimes. You know what? It's okay. Sometimes people, we try today, don't be down on yourself, but it's okay for a person to demand something from themselves sometimes, to try to push themselves to be better, to be cusses, to actually crush yourself a little bit, to actually press on yourself a little bit. It's okay. But the Torah is telling us it's okay to take stock of where you might be holding in your life, but that's something you should do. Causes to pressure yourself, that's okay. But you know what that the Pasuk is telling us? But that only if it's causes lama or. Only if you're working on yourself and you're hard on yourself, that at the end of the day, when you finish being hard on yourself, you're going to become better. And you're going to be happy, you're going to be positive, you're going to want to make yourself better. But v'loi kosis lamanachos. You cannot have a situation where a person, menachos means where you're dead, you're out afterwards. Also lashon of menucha. If a person's hard on themselves and you become depressed afterwards, and your being hard on yourself just gets you down and you're not able to continue, then it's not a kosis that you're going to grow from. V'loi kosis lamalachas. A person has to know that you can't be hard on yourself if after you're hard on yourself and you're down on yourself, you're going to become depressed. Because that is a yira. That is being tough on yourself from the olam hachorban. And every Jew, says in the Nesivos Shalom, needs to know that, let's say a person, it comes this time of the year, a person wants to make a cheshbon hanefesh. You need to ask yourself, you need to know, where are these thoughts coming from? All of a sudden a person, I need to make a cheshbon hanefesh, I'm no good, I'm nothing, where is this cheshbon hanefesh coming from? Are you trying to build yourself up? Is this cheshbon hanefesh coming from a yira, from a kosis that is lama or is it coming from, believe it or not, says the Nesivos Shalom, is this cheshbon hanefesh now coming from the Yetzer Hara? The Yetzer Hara that just wants you to feel like a failure. Because once a person feels like a failure, they'll do anything. They give up. You throw in the towel. So there is a yira, there is a kosis, there is an accounting that a person could put themselves through, and you think you're being the best tzaddik in the world. You're making a cheshbon hanefesh, but it's your Yetzer Hara. Your Yetzer Hara is saying, be tough on yourself. Teach yourself that you're a failure, so you will never get back up. And you know what tshuva means? Tshuva means to raise your level, to become positive, to say, I'm going to try, I'm going to be better, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be closer to Hashem. But a yira that just brings you down is a yira that the Yetzer Hara wants, and the Yetzer Hara just wants to get you down. The Torah tells us in Parshas Bereshis, the Torah tells us by by the creation of Adam and Chava. And we all know that Adam and Chava, the first day in Gan Eden, didn't work out so well. Adam and Chava, after they ate from the Eitz Hadas, the Torah tells us that Adam ran away and he hid. Vayikra Hashem Elokim elo Adam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu called out to Adam and he said, Vayomer Loi, and he said to Adam, Ayeka, where are you? And right away, so many questions come up in that pasuk. Hashem is asking Adam Arishan, where did you run? And the Nesivos Shalom explains, you know what this question is? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking Adam Arishan, that you hit such a low madrega that when you hear Hashem calling out to you, you run the other way. Ayeka, where are you going? I'm calling you. I want you to be close to me. I want you to come back. And this we know, this was on the first day, Hayoim HaRasav, this was actually on Rosh Hashanah, and it's a lesson for us, for every Rosh Hashanah. That when Hashem is calling out to us, we don't run the other way. Hashem is calling to us, Shuvu Vanim Shayvavim, I want you to be close to me. I want you to come back. And Adam, you are running away? And you're hiding. And you know what Adam Arishan answered? Adam answered that I just realized what I am. I just realized what I did. And how can I ever do tshuva? How am I going to do tshuva now? So Hashem asks Adam Arishan another question. Mi higid lecha ki eram ata. Adam Arishan said that we realize we're not clothed, and whatever that means spiritually, physically. And Hashem asks Adam Arishan this question, and listen to these words because it's exactly what we're talking about. Adam Arishan, you're afraid. You ran to hide. Mi higid lecha ki eram ata. Adam Arishan, who told you to be afraid? And that's the question of the pasuk. Where is this feeling of regret, this feeling that you want to be better, this feeling that you want to do a cheshbon hanefesh? Where is it coming from? Mi higid lecha. It's Rosh Hashanah now. Did the Yetzer Toiv tell you? Did the Yetzer Toiv tell you, come, Adam Arishan, look what you did, let's come, let's be closer to Hashem. You're close anyway during this time of the year now. Everybody knows it comes Rosh Hashanah. If a person's saying, I want to make a cheshbon hanefesh, make sure it's mi higid lecha. Is it the Yetzer Hara telling you? Is it the one from the Olam HaBinyan, the Yetzer HaToiv? Or is it the Yetzer Hara telling you, yeah, make a cheshbon hanefesh, see how lousy you are? And I actually saw this week, somebody wrote, I'll veer a drop off to the Nesivos Shalom, but something we hardly did. I read an article this week. And somebody wrote about how years ago it worked when they came to yeshiva and he came to the Elzman and the Rebbe or the Rosh Yeshiva walked in, he started screaming, Elul, Elul, which is, it's true, it's Elul. And he would instill the fear of God into you and it worked. But today, you do that to a boy today, he shuts down, it's over. It's 25, we don't identify with that. Just the nature of the way we are. We don't. Today, we explain you what is tshuva. Mi higid lecha. Who wants you to come back? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to come back. It should be a yira. You should know that you want to make a cheshbon hanefesh. You want to be better to your parents. You want to be better to your children. You want to be better to your friends. You don't want to speak lashon hara, but for one reason. Not because you're depressed and you feel like you're a failure. Because you want to be a better person. It's yira from where? From the Olam HaBinyan. And that is what the lesson of this parsha, of Parsha Ki Seitzei Elul, when you go out, lo yisira mehem. The pasuk tells us, don't be afraid, but only be afraid if you know that it's coming to build you up. And it's something that we all have to know as we come up to the weeks of the Yom Narayim, that Hashem loves every single one of us. And He just wants us to want to be close. Shuvu banim shayvavim. This is not a time to be depressed. It's not a time to be down because that's your Yetzer Hara talking to you. We need to listen to the words of the Yetzer HaToiv.